It was there in Cana of Galilee where Jesus had transformed the water into wine. Watch this. It's the same place. In other words, that Jesus had already done a miracle before. Somebody ought to help me in here. And he shows up in the same place once again. Watch this, my brothers and sisters. And every now and then, let me pause here long enough to digress here long enough to tell you in here today, sometimes it's our past experience with God that ought to lead us to have some confidence in God right now. The reality of the matter is, whatever we're in now, this isn't the first time we've been in a tight spot. Are you feeling me in here? This isn't the first time we've had some insurmountable odds stacked up against us. But it's all because of what God had done in the past that ought to give me some confidence that God is able to do it again. See, if you ever been sick before and he raised you up, it ought to give you some confidence that God can heal the sick. So the text says, watch this, the text says here that it's that same place. Jesus shows up here once again. Cana of Galilee, he shows up here once again. Watch this, the text says it's the same place where he had changed water into wine. He performed the miracle. It went in water, but it came out wine. Don't ask me how it happened, I can't tell you. Only thing I can tell you is it was a miracle. And Jesus did it. But watch the text. The text says, and there was a certain royal official whose son lay sick. Watch this. In Capernaum. Watch this. In verse 47 it says, when this man, watch this, he didn't see but he heard. Watch the text. The text says, when he heard that Jesus had arrived in Galilee from Judea, the text says that he went to him and begged him to come and heal his son, who, watch this, who was close to death. So here it is. Watch the text. Watch the text. The text says it was now when Jesus shows up. He shows up here in Cana of Galilee. Watch this. When he shows up, when he shows up in this place, here comes a royal official's son. He comes because he has a son in Capernaum who's close to death. Watch this. He was a royal official. One scholar calls him a nobleman. He was a royal official. In other words, he was somebody in society. This man had power, prominence, and prestige. But watch this. In spite of that, he had a situation that he couldn't fix himself. And my brothers and sisters, sometimes I know you long to have power, but sometimes there are some problems that have come upon you, even with your power, that you're going to need a God to help you get out and to fix that problem for you. Are you listening to me? So the text says that here it is. The royal official's son was laying at the point of death. It was the royal official. Watch this. His son didn't come to Jesus for himself, but he had his father in his life who came to Jesus on his behalf. And brothers and sisters, every now and then there are people in our lives that are sick. They are sick one way or the other. They are sick and they may not go to Jesus for themselves, but the blessing of you being connected to them and you have a holy hookup. Come on, talk to me in here. What you and I ought to be willing to do is to go to that person who's in our lives who won't go to Jesus for themselves. It's our responsibility to intercede and go to the Lord for them. Are you listening to me? So the boy didn't go to Jesus for himself, but he had a father who loved him enough, who was willing to go to Jesus on his behalf. But watch the text. He went to Jesus. He went to Jesus. His father went to Jesus. And so that gives us some insight on the plight or the problem of the nobleman. The plight or the problem of the nobleman was the fact that he had a son who laid at the point of death. Listen, this boy didn't just have an upset stomach. He just didn't have a headache. This boy was seriously sick. It was serious. It was so serious until his father sought out Jesus on his behalf. And so the text says that the father went to Jesus on the son's behalf. Now watch this. And so he asked Jesus, he says, now Jesus, I tell you what I want you to do, Jesus. I need you, Lord. Listen, forget my power. Forget what they call, forget I'm somebody's boss. Forget all the power. Forget all the money I have. Come on, forget my stocks, bonds, and CDs and mutual funds. Forget all the stuff I've accumulated and gained in this world. He said, forget all of that, Lord. What I need right now is in you. Lord, you are my only hope. Lord, what I need, you got it. And Lord, what I need from you is I need you to come down here. I need you to come down to my house in Capernaum. I need you to heal my boy. Do I have any help in there? Is there anybody here? Have you ever had an emergency situation in your life where you had to lay out prostrate before the Lord? You wasn't playing about it. You were serious because the situation was serious. And you started begging God. You said, Lord, I need you right now. I need you to do it, Lord. Do it, Lord. Do it, Lord. Is there anybody in here who knows that He is able to do it right now? Yes, He is. I got to quit. I got to quit in here. But I want to close. I want to leave you here by telling you He wasn't too proud to beg. And to put his ego, his pride, and everything aside. And he just started begging God. He just started begging Jesus to come down here. Because my boy is at death's door. Watch this real quick. I gotta quit here. But my brothers and sisters, don't you know in here today that it's not prosperity that drives us to Jesus? It's not prosperity that drives us. But my brothers and sisters, sometimes it's not until we're poverty stricken. Come on, I mean, it's not when we're full that we're driven to Jesus. But sometimes we got to be empty. Do I have help in here? And sometimes when we're empty, my brothers and sisters, it'll push us to Jesus. I know none of us like problems, but sometimes problems is the best thing that ever happened to us because God has some children He don't hear from as long as everything is well in their life. Some God's got some children that the only time He ever hears from them is when they got some problems in their life. I gotta quit, my brothers and sisters. But this man had a problem that pushed him to Jesus. Pushed him. It was his boy. His boy was at death's door. Pushed him to Jesus. Pushed him to the right person. Yeah, pushed him to Jesus in the presence of the Lord. Watch this, my brothers and sisters. The text says, look at the text. It's a strange twist. The man, he makes his plea. His plea to Jesus in verse 47. But look at verse 48. It's interesting because in verse 48 the text says, listen to how Jesus responded to the man's plea. Jesus said, unless you people. Watch this. Unless you people see miraculous signs and wonders. Jesus told him, you'll never believe. In other words, Jesus said, yeah. He said, it's you, and it's not just you, but it's some more folk out there just like you. You people, he said, you the one came to me, but you got some company. Yeah, and it's some more folk out there just like you people. All you want to do is you just want to see some